If it's Thursday night, say yeah, for it's another edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. Joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We got Michael Bullock here as well. Week 11. My goodness. I mean, this thing has just flown. I mean, it feels like just yesterday we were starting this whole thing, and now here we are in week number 11. Rankings have changed. There were some shakeups, and there were two certain shakeups, much to the delight of myself and Fletch and Bullock, because both of our teams, as of now, for the first time ever, are both in the rankings at the same time. I mean, that's awesome, and we'll definitely get into that. And of course, Power Poll will have some shakeups in there as well. So without any further ado, gentlemen, let's get into it. Week 11 is actually underway right now, and we have an interesting matchup that's airing right now on ESPN as the number 14 NC State Wolfpack are at home against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and NC State's up 23-20 with the ball under 4 minutes to go in regulation. Unlike the NFL game tonight, this game actually has some Shakespearean drama here, so might come down to the end there. We'll see. So keep an eye on that, and if anything happens, I'll have one of these guys break in or something. I don't know. We'll see. But with all that being said, let's dive into the remaining action. Two Friday games tomorrow night, and one is a Zonk game, and the other definitely some implications, without a doubt. First game this week. It'll go down tomorrow night at 7 as the first half of a doubleheader on ESPN2. Both of these games will be on ESPN2. It's a Friday night doubleheader. And we're going to start it off with the now number 13 Syracuse Orange at home in the Carrier Dome hosting the Louisville Cardinals. This game will be over on ESPN2. And on the call for that one will be Jason Benetti along with Kelly Stouffer and Olivia Decker. Syracuse opening up as 20.5 to 21-point favorites. Can't say I'm surprised to hear that. If this ACC clash is remotely contested, it'll be stunning. 3 of Louisville's last 4 opponents have hit 56 points, and Syracuse only has 2 games below 37 this season. Nothing more to say on this. Syracuse, easy, 49-21, Syracuse all over Louisville. Nothing more to say. MF, I mean, it's going to be a long night for the Dome tomorrow night.
Yeah, it probably will be a long night, to say the very least. Syracuse is just, they're a really good team. They've proven it right here in the ACC this year, and they've looked very good, very strong. And at the end of the day, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Louisville is not the same team as they were. We saw them not too long ago. I think it was against Clemson, and they got absolutely smashed. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is a pretty easy call to make. Nothing more to say. Syracuse wins and wins in the laugher. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I think Syracuse will. They'll have no problem with Louisville. I mean, Syracuse. What can you say about them? I mean, they've done really well this season, so I expect that to continue over Louisville. I'm going to say 48. No, actually, I'll go 49-21 as well. Syracuse beating Louisville. So Florio, let's move on to our next game on a Friday night, and it should be a good one. And it's in our favorite part of college football.
Yes, it is. But I'll get into that in a minute. Of course, as MF was alluding to, it was last week, MF, that Louisville went up to Clemson and got absolutely holiday hammed, if I do say so myself, 77-16. I mean, yeesh. That's all I can say on that. All right. The other half of our Friday doubleheader, and this one definitely has potential to be an instant classic here. Implications in the Mountain West Conference here. the number 23 Fresno State Bulldogs squaring off against the Boise State Broncos at Albertson Stadium in Boise. You know what that means? Smurf turf. Yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna see the Smurf turf tomorrow night in all its glory. ESPN2, the second half of that doubleheader. We got Mike Cousins, Kirk Morrison, and a young lady named Alyssa Lang on the call, and it is Fresno State opening up as 2.5 to 3-point favorites. And MF, I mean, no doubt about it. This is definitely the sleeper game of the week right here. Fresno and Boise, major implications in the Mountain West.
Oh, without a doubt. And not only that, but I talked about it once. I'll talk about it again. Normally, these would be the matchups that you want to see because of the fact that, getting into, the New Year's 6, normally the rules are if you're in the 15 range and you're a mid-major, as long as, nobody else is there, the highest mid-major guy would actually get an invite to the New Year's 6 as an at-large bid. That is currently being held by South Florida, who's undefeated, and they're right now well on their way to doing it. But if they get tripped up or if they start losing some games down the line, a game like this would actually benefit one of the teams and actually gives the committee an opportunity, a pause to think about, and maybe we could see them possibly get an opportunity to get in. So we'll have to wait and see. At the end of the day, I know a lot of people are really thinking that this is Fresno State's moment and they're playing great, but there's something about that Smurf turf and there's something about Boise State you can never, ever, ever underestimate in any situation. Yes, I'll go with Fresno State to win this game, but would I be stunned if Boise wins this? Absolutely not. They're a great team. I think they definitely have an opportunity to win it. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. And just a quick little update, Anthony. NC State had a 4th down conversion attempt. They have failed. It's still 23-20. 1 minute and 40 seconds left. So Wake Forest has a chance to either force this baby into overtime, or could they possibly pull the dreaded upset and mess everything up in the ACC? They got to go about 80 yards to win the game. They're at their own 20-yard line with 1:39 remaining. I'll keep you posted. Until then, I got Fresno State winning 27-24. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, there's something about that playing at Boise State that, especially that Smurf turf, makes Boise State, play even better. This is definitely going to be something to definitely keep an eye on tomorrow night. It's a big game for Boise State because they are 1 game behind Utah State in its division, and going into that matchup against Utah State next week. So Boise State definitely needs this more than Fresno State. But like you said, and of course, let's not forget last year, Fresno State beat the Boise State at home in the last game of the 2007 regular season. But yeah, but the thing is, this is a tough one to call for me here, but you know what? I'm going to pull an MF here. I'm calling for the upset. I'm going to go with Boise State upsetting Fresno. My final score, I'm going to say 27-24 Boise State over Fresno. So Florio, it's up to you to break the tie.
Can the Broncos solve this defense? the visiting have ceded just 36 points in 5 games since the beginning of October. Boise State quarterback Brett Rippon has mostly been fantastic this season, but his least efficient games happened opposite the 2 toughest defenses, San Diego State, BYU, and Fresno State is better than those teams. I'm sorry, Bullock. I got to go with MF on this one. I'm going with Fresno State, 27-24. Now, don't get me wrong. I love me some Boise. I really do. 2009 to 2011, I absolutely love that team, and I was rooting so hard for them to break through and do something amazing. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. But I still love me some Boise, and like MF said, would I be surprised if Boise would have pulled an upset here? Absolutely not. It's the Smurf turf after all, but nonetheless, I think this is Fresno State's year. So I'm going with Fresno State 27-24. So with all that being said, guys, now let's get into the Saturday slate of action. And we're going to start it off with action from the Big 12, as it will be over on Fox Sports 1. We have the number 9 West Virginia Mountaineers at home against the TCU Horned Frogs, Mountaineer Field at Milan Puskar Stadium in Morgantown. We got Justin Kutcher with Petros Papadakis and DeMarco Murray. And it says, I have on my my sheet here that that Holly Saunders is listed. I don't think that's okay. I guess it is true. All right. I guess Holly Saunders is going to be working with that crew with Kutcher, Papadakis, and Murray for that game on Saturday. But nonetheless, we have West Virginia opening up as 11.5 to 12-point favorites. So Bullock, starting with Bullock here, West Virginia, what can you say about them? What a game against Texas, a 5-star classic, and we'll talk more about the other stuff in a minute. But West Virginia, wow, what a big win last week.
Yeah, what can you say? Yeah, that was a statement day for West Virginia to basically, to go in and beat the number 17 Texas Longhorns in Austin, Texas. That was a high-scoring game, and the key play was that gutsy do-or-die 2-point conversion after their final touchdown with 16 seconds to go. If that doesn't exemplify gutsiness, I don't know what will. But yeah, and they cracked the top 10 because of that, and now they gotta take on a TCU team, and and of course they outlasted Kansas State last week, and when the Wildcats missed an extra point attempt late in the game. So, and of course, so this is going to be something for West Virginia, but I got them handling TCU with no problem because they've got 4-5, not impressive, and of course they've had some injuries. So yeah, so I'm gonna go with West Virginia to build on that momentum from that win last week. I'm gonna say 41. I'm gonna go 41-24. West Virginia beating TCU, and nothing more to say. Florio, what can you say about that game against Texas? Talk about guts going for that 2-point conversion with 16 seconds left.
Absolutely. That's a testament to their head coach Dana Holgorsen. He's the one who made that gutsy call in that game of the week last week. And we had 4 games. We had 4 games of the week last week, and of the 4th, it was only that one that West Virginia Texas that was anything good. The other three were all disappointments and blowouts. But nonetheless, excluding losses to Ohio State and Oklahoma, TCU has surrendered just 4.2 yards a snap this season. The defense can frustrate West Virginia quarterback Will Grier and keep the Horned Frogs in the game, but it feels irresponsible to pick a stumbling TCU offense on the road. So, no doubt about this. I got West Virginia winning as well. I'm going to go 34-17, West Virginia over TCU. And MF, I mean, West Virginia knocking off Texas, 42-41. Grier with that bomb to Gary Jennings that made our boy Gus Johnson absolutely lose his mind. And I saw it live as it happened. He still got it, man.
Oh, he still got it, no doubt about it. It's unbelievable. It was a great win. West Virginia absolutely needed that game. They got it. It doesn't get any bigger than that. It's an incredible victory. Nothing more to say about that. I got West Virginia winning as well. Very comfortable. Well, not comfortably, but at least by 2 touchdowns. But it could, you never know. Big 12 football, you know it's going to be high scoring. You know it's going to be exciting. Very rare you'll see anything like this. But speaking of very rare and very exciting, guys, we got an upset possibly happening in NC State. Wake Forest has just scored a touchdown. They are now up 27-23 with 30 seconds left in the game. A 21-yard touchdown to the house after a controversial incomplete pass. They went to review. The calls stand on the field. Well, all Wake Forest just did was just score a massive touchdown, and now they got NC State literally on the ropes. They are just about 27, 26. Okay, so flags everywhere too. So NC State's in deep trouble, guys. They might be upsetted.
I think they're going to be upset. I mean, it's not looking good. That's all there is to say on that. But while we're waiting for MF's latest update from the game, we have we're going to get into the first of our games of the week here. Oh boy, what a matchup this is going to be. High noon on Fox. The number 10 Ohio State Buckeyes squaring off against the number 18 Michigan State Spartans at Spartan Stadium in East Lansing, Michigan. This game will be over on Fox. We got the A-team. We got Gus Johnson. We got Joel Klatt. We got the All-American girl, Jenny Taft. And we have Ohio State opening up as 3.5 to 4-point favorites. Consider this a pick against MSU, more than a vote of confidence for Ohio State. Despite knocking off Maryland 24-3 last week, quarterback Brian Lewerke, 11 of 20 for 87 yards, continued to struggle while dealing with a shoulder injury. The Buckeyes are reeling, but Michigan State is more. So I'm going to go with Ohio State to barely survive this one. 24-16, Ohio State over Michigan State. So nothing more to say on this. MF, I mean, this is an MF special right here. This is, without a doubt, the Big Ten game of the week here. Ohio State and Michigan State. This is
no
going
doubt.
to be a good one. This will be a good one in East Lansing.
It'll be a good one. And I got to say it, you're absolutely right. Ohio State looks vulnerable. They do not look like that powerhouse team that was running through teams earlier in the season. I think that Purdue loss really messed with their psyche. And then on top of that, they barely escaped against Nebraska last week. And Nebraska really gave them everything and then some. It's a shocking defeat. It's a shocking loss. And, you know, it was a shocking game because if you remember, Nebraska played horrible earlier in the year. There was so much turmoil with their coaching staff and the players. There was a lot of infighting. There was a lot of bad stuff going around. And then all of a sudden, they got a couple of wins under their belts and they went up against Ohio State. And yeah, they lost by 5. But let me tell you, for most of that game, Nebraska was dominating. They took the ball, ran it right down Ohio State's throats earlier in the game, scored some key touchdowns, and Ohio State really needed a spark, and they got it on special teams with that block punt that ended up as a safety, and then Ohio State started to play, but. If you saw the whole game from beginning to end like I did, because I was still getting myself ready for the Michigan game. But at the end of the day, I mean, it was a very, very surprising outcome, to say more than anything else. To see Nebraska really push Ohio State. And let me tell you, Michigan State is going to push Ohio State as well. They pushed Michigan, even though Michigan won that game. In East Lansing, whenever it's a rivalry game, and especially when you're one of the big 4 in that side of the Big Ten bracket, it's a bloodbath. It's a war. It is bad. It is bad blood between these two teams. So expect some fireworks in this game. Low scoring affair. But I do believe Ohio State will just have enough and they'll get the job done. 17-13 is going to be my final score, with the Buckeyes knocking off Michigan State. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, like you said, Fletch. I mean, what is going on with Ohio State? And like you said, they do look vulnerable. I mean, ever since they were stunned big time by an unranked Purdue Boilermakers team, and they barely survived rebuilding Nebraska program. And the thing is, in that game, they trailed at halftime, and they gave up 450 total yards of offense to the Cornhuskers. I mean, that's right now. I mean, there's not a lot of confidence in this team, and they missed a couple of guys last week because of undisclosed ailments, and you better have them back this week, or this could be a long afternoon for the Buckeyes. Yeah, and the thing is, they're going to be the production of running backs J.K. Dobbins and Mike Weber. I mean, they're going to be tested against the number 1 rushing defense in the nation, and Michigan State is allowing just 71.7 rushing yards per game. And if Michigan State can hold off that running attack of Ohio State, I really think they could have a chance to pull off the upset. But the thing is, they're gonna have their hands full with the sophomore quarterback Dwayne Haskins. So yeah, this is gonna be a tough one. This is a tough one for me to call. I mean, part of me is telling me to go with Michigan State. Another part of me is going with Ohio State. I'll tell you what, after what I've seen from Ohio State the last couple of weeks, and I'm starting to puzzle, should I even pick them? And you know what? Until I see something from Ohio State, I'm actually going to pull an upset yet again. I think Michigan State will upset the Ohio State Buckeyes. 17-13 is going to be my final score. So, nothing more to say, Florio. I know you're probably going to disagree with me on this one, but you know what? Just go with it.
I already gave my pick, Bullock.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I let off. So yeah, I have Ohio State winning 24-16. But nonetheless, let's move on to our next matchup. High noon on ESPN2. We have the number 12 UCF Knights at home at Spectrum Stadium in Orlando, hosting the Navy Midshipmen. This one will be over on ESPN2. We've got Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks, and Roddy Jones on the call. UCF opening up as 24.5 to 25-point favorites. I believe we started with MF. And MF, any update from that Wake Forest NC State game?
We have an upset. 27-23. Wake Forest has knocked off NC State. A Hail Mary right at the end got intercepted. That basically was the nail in the coffin, and a huge road win for Wake Forest. Second consecutive year they beat NC State when NC State was ranked. That's the second time that they've done that to them. And yeah, 27-23, the touchdown with 30 seconds left proved to be the difference maker. An upset on Thursday night, Anthony. That's all that matters. At least for this game, I don't believe there will be no upset. UCF is definitely the better team. They're a lot more stronger. If this was the Navy about a couple of years ago, I would have said maybe there would be a possible worrisome game, but I had to say it. Navy is definitely a little bit on the downturn right now. They just haven't had a good season. Army is definite. The Army and I think Air Force actually won the Commander-in-Chief trophy this year. So congratulations to the Air Force for winning the Commander-in-Chief trophy, for being the best military college football school in the country for the year. And I'll say this, I think UCF will continue their hot run, and they should get the victory here. Nothing more to say, Michael Bullock. I give it to you.
Yeah, and UCF, like you said, they're going for 22 in a row, and I mean, what can you say about UCF? They continue to impress me, and yeah, like you said, I mean, they if they were facing a Navy team from last year, maybe it would be an upset, but Navy's not doing anything good this year. So yeah, I mean, I got nothing more to say. I mean, I got yeah, I got UCF winning this one, and yeah, and they definitely need some momentum going into the big game next week against Cincinnati. And well, let's just say the last two games are not going to be easy for UCF, because you got Cincinnati next week, and then in the last game they get South Florida. So they need a confidence builder going into those final two games, and I think they should have no problem, because I'm going to say 31-14 is going to be my final score, and they'll definitely have some confidence going into those final two games, because by golly, those next two games, or the final two games, I should say, will not be easy. Florida, what's yours?
Amen to that, Bullet. They're going to be very tough, without a doubt, especially USF. I mean, that 5-star classic last year was any indication. Oh, that's all I can say on that. And how about Wake Forest? I mean, they were 19 to 20 point underdogs tonight. NC State was a 19 to 20 point favorite tonight, and Wake Forest just goes in there and pulls off a massive upset. So kudos to Wake Forest. That's without a doubt their biggest win of 2018, without a doubt. But anyway, getting back to this, UCF has scored 30-plus points in every contest this season and 21 straight games overall. Navy has seeded the mark 5 times during its 6-game losing streak. Yeah, no doubt about it. We're not going to think too hard on this one. UCF, easy win, 45-21, UCF over Navy. So nothing more to say here. Let's move on to our next matchup. High noon on ESPN. The number 15 Florida Gators back at home at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Excuse me. They're going to be hosting the South Carolina Gamecocks. This one will be over on ESPN. We've got Dave Patch with Greg McElroy and Tom Luganville. And Florida opening up as a 6-point favorite. But Bullock, I mean, what happened to Florida last week? They got embarrassed at home by, of all teams, Missouri? What's up with that? Bullock, it's yours.
Oh, we're talking about the next game, right?
Yeah, South Carolina against Florida. And can Florida bounce back from that embarrassing loss to Missouri?
Oh, hold on a second here. You said South Carolina and Florida, right? Oh,
yes.
Yeah, here it is. I found it here. Yeah, yeah, I think Florida can I think Florida can bounce back, but by golly, it's not going to be easy against a team like South Carolina. I expect them to to bounce back, but the thing is, Felipe Franks, I mean, he needs to have a better performance because, I mean, he was benched in the second half after a god awful first half. I mean, he only completed 9 of 22 passes for 84 yards. When Kyle Trask came in, he played better, but by the time he played better, it was too little too late. So, yeah, so I expect them to bounce back. I'm going to say 23-17 is going to be my final score. But like I said, would I be surprised if South Carolina pulls up the upset? No, I wouldn't be, but I expect Florida to bounce back. So, Florio, it's yours.
Heading into the Spurrier Bowl, Florida might have a quarterback dilemma. However, a bigger concern for the Gators is subpar defense since the upset over LSU in Week 6. They should be able to handle South Carolina quarterback Jake Bentley after his Ole Miss cost spike. The Rebels are 124th out of 130 teams in passing defense. But I'm not as confident in this pick as I would have been about a month ago when Florida was really playing well. And I'm definitely not as confident in Florida, especially after that embarrassing loss to Missouri last week. So I'm going to go with Florida to win, but I would not be surprised if South Carolina pulled an upset here. Florida is definitely on upset alert, as MF would say. But I'm going to go with Florida. This is a reluctant pick. 27-24. Florida barely gets by. MF, I mean, this is a definite must-win for Florida, especially after that embarrassing loss to Missouri.
Yeah, they didn't show up. They did not show up last week, and yeah, a lot of people were shocked. Even my eyes were opened up a little bit. I had an eyebrow-raising moment there, saying, "Whoa, what happened to Florida, man? They looked horrible on that day. They cannot play like that again. Absolutely not. They play like that again, South Carolina will punch them in the mouth, and they'll pull yet another upset. And you think the season's been bad enough for Florida? Just imagine back-to-back embarrassing losses. That will really get the base fired up and asking for somebody's head on a swivel, to say the very least. I'm with you, Anthony. I'm not as confident like everybody else is. I'm gonna say the same thing. I'll say Florida wins, but that's not really a confident decision either in my mind. So nothing more to say. Let's move on.
We move on to another big game in the Big Ten. This is definitely the number 2 game in the Big Ten, without a doubt. High noon over on ABC. This is our last noon game before we go into a mass slate of 3:30 games. The number 20, Penn State Nittany Lions back home at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. They're going to be hosting the Wisconsin Badgers. We have Mark Jones with Dusty Dvoracek and Molly McGrath on the call. And Penn State opening up as 9-point favorites. This Wisconsin defense is uncharacteristically average, especially against the run. add in the potential absence of quarterback Alex Hornibrook due to a head injury, and Penn State should be able to recover from an embarrassing loss of their own, 42-7 in the Big House at Michigan. So I'm going to go with Penn State to win this one. I'm going to say 34-20, Penn State over Wisconsin. MF, I mean, much to your delight and much to Bullock's delight, Michigan not only beat Penn State, but they absolutely manhandled them in the Big House. How can Penn State recover from this?
Well, I mean, look, they're just going to have to play better. I mean, they ran into a team that was very motivated, very angry. They got humiliated a year or so ago. And like I said, Michigan is on a revenge tour, and they just took their aggression out. They bottled that anger and unleashed it on Penn State. Penn State, yeah, they had to lick their wounds and everything else. Trace McSorley had a horrible game, to say the very least. But to go up against a defense like Wisconsin that is definitely very suspect this year, that's another team that, there was very high expectations and everything was going their way. And then the Michigan game, and they got tripped up. So, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, Penn State should rebound nicely and win this game over Wisconsin. This is going to be another fight to the end. Modestly middle of the road scoring. I'm saying 27-23. Penn State knocks off Wisconsin. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah. I mean, Penn State. I mean, what happened to them last week was, man. I mean, at the hands of Michigan, boy, howdy. I mean, they got Holiday in big time. But I do agree with Fletch. I expect Penn State to bounce back. I'm gonna go 28-24. Penn State over Wisconsin. So, yeah, there's nothing more to say. Florio, I give it to you.
And now we move on to our 3:30 slate of games. We got a lot of them here, guys. So let's move on here. The first is another one of our games of the week, since it is a battle of ranked teams. It's the SEC on CBS. The number one team in all the land, your reigning and defending, undisputed college football playoff national champion, Alabama Crimson Tide, back home at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. They're going to be hosting the number 16 Mississippi State Bulldogs. You don't need a dirt sheet for this. You know who's going to be there. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jamie Erdahl. They will be there for this one. And to the surprise of none of us, Alabama, sizable favorite. They're 23.5 to 24.5 point favorites. MF, I mean, you know what I always say when it comes to an easy opponent for Alabama. Next victim.
Yeah, and look, they went through one of the toughest teams, which was LSU, and they swept them. They beat them, and let me tell you, offensively, not the best performance by far. Tua had a decent game, pretty good, but not great. But the defense absolutely answered the bell on this one, and they dominated. LSU had no answer offensively all night. They just absolutely got manhandled at the end of the day. Shocking. It was a devastating and unbelievable performance more than anything else. So, yeah, congratulations to Alabama. Now you got to go with the next game, and that next game is Mississippi State. Look, good team, nice run that they've had up to this point. But when you're going up against a team that's basically the best in college football, there's really no other answer to say. Right now, Alabama is just, they're cruising right along. They got a date Obviously, they'll have Auburn on Thanksgiving weekend. We now know it will be the college football playoff national championship rematch will happen at the SEC championship game in Atlanta the first week of December. We now know it's going to be that because Georgia and Alabama have won their respective divisions, so they will be battling it out for the SEC crown, and then obviously we'll see what happens leading into the college football playoff, who they will play and who they will face at that point. But yeah, Bama, like you said, Anthony, it could definitely easily be next victim. But we'll have to wait and see. But they're looking good right now. They're looking wicked strong, and they are definitely. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that Bama is just going to roll right through Mississippi State. Unfortunately, Bama wins easily. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, yeah, Alabama not the best offensive performance. I mean, it was decent enough for them. I mean, basically, the stars of the game was definitely the defense. I mean, they took a really good LSU team and basically just wiped the floor with them, no doubt, and proved to everyone why they are the number one team in the nation and the reigning and defending college football playoff national champions. So I expect them to have no problem with Mississippi State. I mean, they're a good team, no doubt about it. But when you're going up against the number one team in the nation in Alabama, sorry, it's going to be a long afternoon for Mississippi. Yeah, so nothing more to say. Alabama wins. Florio, it's yours.
This is a Nick Fitzgerald appreciation moment. After a brutal 4-game stretch, the senior quarterback has accounted for 679 yards and 8 touchdowns over the last 2 weekends. He's reclaimed a hold on the starting job to end his career, but Alabama wins, next victim, yada yada. So it's all about Bama here. 41-17. It's all about Bama. That's all there is to it. It's their world. We're just paying the rent, gentlemen. So nothing more to say. Let's move on. 3:30 kickoff over on the Big Ten Network. The number 4. How about it, gentlemen? Your number 4, Michigan Wolverines. And oh boy, do they have an easy one. They're going to be going up against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights at highpoint.com Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. This one will be over on the Big Ten Network. We got Kevin Kugler, James Laurinaitis, and Rick Pizzo on the call. And looking for the spread for this one. Oh, my goodness. Michigan opening up as 38-39.5-point favorites. All right, Bullock, you talk about Alabama with a next victim. I think it's a next victim for Michigan here.
Yeah, I'm just going to make it short and sweet here. Michigan's going to win in a rout and in a very big way. I'm going to say so bad, I'm going to say it. 59-0 is going to be my final score. Florio, it's yours.
Rutgers is terrible. Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh still praised the Scarlet Knights while speaking to reporters, commending them for having the nation's second lowest kick return average allowed. That was nice to him. 49-7. Michigan all day over Rutgers. MF, the first of your 2 easy opponents before, of course, the big one in a couple weeks.
Yeah, but the thing is don't get caught up in the hype. Don't get caught up with the news, with the media. Do your job, handle your business, and finish. That's the thing. First you had to worry about the revenge tour. That we got in 3 out of the 4. We got one more to go, and that's Ohio State. We all know that. But now this is where sometimes you put the foot off the gas. You see an easy team, a cupcake team. You're thinking this is an easy game to win. And whenever you do that, sometimes you don't get mentally focused. And that's where bad things could happen. Look what happened with NC State tonight. They probably didn't think that Wake Forest was going to give them a threat, and they just got stomped. So, moral of the story, Shea Patterson, you've been great lately. You've been dominating. Tremendous college football from you. And you've proven that you are a quarterback, a leader in the maize and blue. We want you to continue that. The running game needs to continue their hot runs, and they've been great lately. And the defense, that top 10 defense in college football right now, we guys need you guys to ratchet up, buckle down, do whatever you got to do. Just play it. Play the 4 quarters, play 60 minutes, just focus on that. Don't worry about the distractions now. Now we got everybody on the bandwagon. Everybody's starting to talk about Michigan and playing in the college football playoff. Let's drown out all that crap, all that garbage right now, and let's worry about one game at a time. This is about the Scarlet Knights. Their asses, get them out of the way. Like if Floyd would say, that next victim, let's get them out. And then we'll worry about Indiana before we get to Ohio State. One game at a time from here on out, guys. Then let's just finish what we need to do. Handle our business, and that's what we need. And that's basically all we need to do. Nothing more than that. Florio, go.
Obviously, you've got Michigan in a route, I'm sure, MF. So.
Oh well, obviously.
All right.
But the thing is I want them to. I'm trying to emphasize
right
all that other stuff, because
fair enough.
That's going to be one of the things that I start getting worried about. Is all the media start chirping about the thing. That's what got the Miami Hurricanes in trouble last year, because after the big win over Notre Dame, they got caught up in their own hype, and we saw what happened next.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
So I don't want that to happen to Michigan.
Fair enough. Let's move on now to our next 3:30 game, and you boys ready for some bedlam? The number 6 Oklahoma Sooners at home at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium in Norman, hosting the Oklahoma State Cowboys. 3:30 over on ABC. And let me find my sheet here. We got Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Todd McShay. They'll be there for that one. Oklahoma opening up as a 3-touchdown favorite, 21 points. And during the last 15 years, Oklahoma has earned 13 victories against its in-state rival. The Sooners will continue that trend as long as they protect the football, which cost them against Texas in the Red River game and put them in an early 14-point hole at Texas Tech before they were able to come out of that in what was the surprise game of the week. So I got Oklahoma winning. My final score, 52-31, Oklahoma over Oklahoma State. So nothing more to say. MF, you ready for some bedlam?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely ready for some bedlam, but I hate to say this, but Oklahoma brought their guns, and they might be shooting some Cowboys on that field, man. I mean, look, I'm gonna be openly honest about you. Oklahoma bounced back really nicely after that heartbreaking, devastating loss in the Red River rivalry against Texas, and they've played really good. Yeah, they got themselves a little bit in trouble earlier, spotted 2 touchdowns, but then they were able to come back. Look, I'm pretty sure that Oklahoma will win this game. As far as the final score goes, I think it's going to be a little more closer than what the experts have it. I got it 41-31 with Oklahoma outlasting Oklahoma State and winning in the Bedlam. But it's definitely going to be a good matchup. It's going to be a great game, and it could go any way at the end of the night, and that's the key factor of this. It can go either way, but at the end of the day, that's my final score. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I got Oklahoma winning this one as well. I mean, I'm gonna say 49-28 is gonna be my final score here. I mean, yeah, you guys pretty much said it. It's gonna be bedlam, but yeah, Oklahoma's gonna continue that. They're gonna continue that momentum. So there's really nothing more that needs to be said. Florio, I give it to you. Florio?
Tony?
Florio, are you there?
Uh-oh.
Ooh, that's not good.
No, that isn't. All right. I guess I'm gonna
hold on. Oh, hold on. I got a message here from Florio. Give me just a minute. Oh, he said his connection just dropped.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to take over for the moment. And until
I was gonna say you're gonna have to take over for the minute. Let me see what the next.
So we're gonna heck.
I think it's Washington State and Colorado is next.
All right. So Washington State and Colorado. This will be held in Boulder. And let's see.
And it's going to be on ESPN.
Yep. And I believe Colorado, and I think it's Washington State that's the favorite going into this. Let me see. Normally, I'm sorry, guys. Normally, Florio is the one who normally does this. Kind of me, Bullock, and the rest of the me and Bullock kind of hang tight, and we handled the business after the fact. And let's see. It is indeed. Actually, yeah, Washington State is the favorite. 6-point favorite going into the game. I know I'm going to be leading off on this, so I'm just going to dive right into it. Washington State is one of those big surprises right now. They're looking really great. They're 8-1. They're right now on the cusp. If they win their conference, if they win the Big 12, I should say the Pac-12, then if a couple of good things goes their way, it's very possible we could be seeing Washington State possibly make a run for the NCAA college football playoffs. So I got Washington State beating Colorado. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I got Washington State beating Colorado as well. I mean, Washington State looks to definitely continue its momentum. Basically, if they continue to win out, and especially when it's conference title game, they could be in the talk to be in the college football playoff. But the thing is, they need a lot of help if they're gonna get in there. So yeah, I got Washington State winning this one as well. So there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So yeah, let's take a look at the next game.
Actually, I have it here. It's gonna be Kentucky going up against Tennessee. Kentucky, a 5-point favorite. The game will be on the SEC network. Check your local listings for the channel in your area. And of course, Michael Bullock, Kentucky coming off of a devastating loss to Georgia a week ago. Now they go up against a Volunteers team that, with a win, becomes bowl eligible, because that would give them a 5-5 record and would actually make them bowl eligible. So, who do you got? Do you got Kentucky or Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, what a way for Tennessee. I mean, if they win, not only you upset a top ranked team in Kentucky, but you become bowl eligible. But Kentucky really needs to bounce back after that devastating loss last week. So I got Kentucky winning this one, but I'm gonna say my final score is gonna be 28-20 is gonna be my final score. So Fletch, I give it to you.
I agree. I'm going to go with Kentucky as well. I mean, they definitely took one on the chin against Georgia. Georgia made them look bad, to say the very least. Embarrassing defeat, and it shocked. I was stunned at the way that they handled Kentucky, to say the very least. But, it is what it is. So we're just going to dive right in.
Fletch.
Yes.
Hold on a second. I just got something from Florio saying, unless a miracle happens, the show is pretty much over. Well, for him, that is.
All right. Well, we're going to, I guess, keep going then, because we haven't lost our connection or our broadcast. So we're just going to kind of try to go, I guess, rapid fire. If you want to do a